Well, hello friends, welcome back to the Wonky Carrot Homestead. My name is Paul and it's great to have you joining us once again. You might be wondering what I'm doing standing amongst these star pickets in a random patch in our orchard. Well, this is going to become our raspberry patch. We have 10 heritage variety raspberries to go in the ground, and I've spent quite a bit of time over the last few weeks figuring out exactly where to put them and exactly the spacing and sort of the width around the raspberries so we can get a nice protected area so the kangaroos don't get in there and we can get a crop of raspberries. So in this area, we'll end up with 10 raspberry canes, and I've placed them more or less about 30 centimeters apart. So each cane is going to grow upwards and hopefully spread out nice and bushy. So this center section of this bay or this bed is going to be where the canes are planted, and they'll bush out to approximately the width of these edge star pickets. What I'm going to do then along the edges here is put some wire and a wire trainer and then some chicken wire around there. And then in the middle here, I'm going to create sort of like a T-shaped structure with some wires or some mesh, which will create the trellis, if you like, that the raspberries can grow up. This particular variety of raspberry fruits on first year canes. So if we're lucky, we will get some fruit at the end of summer and into early autumn. And then what we plan to do when they're finished fruiting is we'll cut them down to the ground. This will forever remain our raspberry patch so long as we have success with it this year. So we'll cut them down to the ground, and then year after year they'll grow up, we'll crop, and we'll cut them down, and so on and so on and so on it will go. So I'd best get on with actually digging the holes and getting some compost in here so then that we can plant those raspberries into the ground. They're a bare-rooted plant, so they're desperately keen to get in the ground. We're getting some slightly warmer weather recently. We've had a bit of rain, which has been really nice, but we're starting to see now a lot of our orchard plants are getting their buds, and a lot of our other plants are starting to bud. So it's not too far off before we get into spring, which is really nice. I'm excited for the growing season here and our first full cycle of growth on the Wonky Carrot Homestead. So let's get on with it. So these here are our raspberry canes, and they are a heritage raspberry from Goodman Seeds. That is a Rubus idaeus heritage. Anyway, there's 10 canes here, and we desperately need to get them into the ground because if you can see, the buds are already starting to go green, so they want to get into the ground nice and quick. Like I said, these are a first year fruiting variety. I think you call that Primocane varieties. Excuse my voice, I've had a bit of a cold recently, so I'm a bit groggy still, a bit nasally. But I think that's what you call this type of raspberry where it fruits on first year canes. Better get them into the ground because, like I said, they're desperate to get in there. The previous owner of this place had some weird obsession with gravel. So all of this soil here is full of gravel, which is not so bad. It's good for drainage, but it just means I have to put some compost in there to actually give it some substance. So I'll do that. And the chickens are here helping out as usual. So that's 10 holes done. They're more or less where I wanted them. There's some rocks up this end, but that's all right. We got those out. They're just here behind me. Because I've been sick recently, as I said before, this is really taking the breath out of me. So excuse my huffing and puffing. These are really prickly, which I didn't realize. I got a handful of prickles, so be careful. What I'm doing is filling each hole just a little bit of compost, getting the cane, making sure it's sitting comfortably, and then putting the rest of the compost on top. What I want to do is kind of create a basin here where this is sitting into, so then the rain and the water can fill up that so they don't dry out too much. I'm going to do that for all of these as I move along down the line, all 10 of them.
Take me back to the riverside, counting days, passing time. Yeah, we were young and so alive. Now it feels like another life. So can you tell me a different story? 'Cause the one I got, you know it's getting old. We had all the time in the world, now I just need more, I just need more. We had all the time in the world, now I just need more, I just need more. Take me down the desert roads. We crashed the car, getting stoned. Life is still all a mystery. Now it's all too clear to me. So can I feel again everything back then?
Well, here it is. The raspberry patch is all finished. Time got away from me last night because I needed to go and get some more fencing wire. But I got back late and I was working in the dark to get all of this all nicely enclosed. The raspberries are in the ground. They look nice and happy. The fencing is in. And the last thing that I need to do is finish off this opening at the end here and also create the trellis once the raspberries establish a little bit more, the trellis that they're going to grow up. But this is what it looks like, and I'm hoping that this whole setup means that we get a huge raspberry crop this year because I love raspberries and that would just be incredible. So one of the other things we've been doing recently has been planting some more trees out in our orchard area. We've planted a fig and a peach tree, so I'll show you those now. Oh, and we also got some quince trees from a keen gardener in town. They were digging up some of their old plants and we said we'd save them, give them a new home. So I've got those as well. So I'll also show you those. Okay, here is our brand new fig tree, a black Genoa fig. Not huge at the moment, but it will grow up and it's protected there by that barrier. And over here is our peach tree, the Tasty Z peach tree. Again, not huge, but it will grow up and it's got that protection barrier around it. Just up here are the quince trees. So I've got 3 of them here. And then we have a further 2, one in a pot near the back door and one in a pot near the entrance to the orchard. And you might be wondering what this pile of debris here is. Well, this is all a tree that Phoebe and I have been working on cutting out recently. Mainly Phoebe, she started the job. It was up against our pear tree. Now I'm gonna roll some footage that shows Phoebe cutting out that tree. I'm not sure what type of tree it was. It was some sort of deciduous, non-fruiting tree, and it was really just crowding everybody out. So it's time to get rid of it, give the pear tree some space. So here's the footage, we'll roll it now.
Getting old. We had all the time in the world, now I just need more, I just need more. We had all the time in the world, now I just need more, I just need more.